Hey everyone, welcome to a very scuffed episode of Don't Feed the Artists. Our YouTube viewers will likely notice that we had some video issues throughout the episode. And for our audio listeners, the audio recording just stopped halfway. So you might notice some strange cuts on the audio and you might notice some strange shots on the video. It's been really fun to try to create a better and more full experience for with the video side. But some road bumps are inevitable, and this likely won't be our last one. But we appreciate you guys bearing with us as we explore all the new fun stuff with video, adding sound effects, and everything in between. So as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And
Fuck off! Get rid of town!
It's fine
we
now.
make sacrifices for the fucking to make it look pretty. It looks better now.
It's a high-end production. We're good.
It's a medium end production. It's like it's the Tullamore Dews of production.
Whoa,
I
we're
think
not
that's
sponsored.
Well, I'm just kind of giving it a comparison point, you know. like
But
a
also,
place.
if they would like to sponsor them,
Please.
Can you make
Sorry.
a reference I would understand? I don't know what that means, a Tullamore Dew.
It's like the Dr. Pepper in a bottle
that's
of
pretty
production.
Good. Yeah.
Back off, bitch.
What?
No Dr. Peppers are bad Dr. Peppers.
But
No,
if
you've
you're,
said
you
this
are
Just
before.
said Dr. Thunder.
Wait, the one
No,
I
no,
gifted
no,
you
no,
for
no.
Christmas, you said was dog shit.
That one. There you go.
The
That would have
Christmas
been
gift
it.
you said
What was
was
that
dog
one?
The
shit.
pure cane sugar ones.
Oh, right. See, I was more thinking of like your tier list for how you enjoy Dr. Pepper.
Did I ever publish that?
I don't know if you did. I thought you did.
I think
thought-
we talked about it.
I thought it was a
on the
meme at
show.
some point somewhere.
I've been thinking in tier lists for the past few weeks because I started I'm watching all those animation shows like Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe. They're not adult animation, but they're accessible for adults as well as children.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I don't want to rate this one as better than this one, so I wasn't giving a tiered or not a tier. A list, here's number 1, here's 2, here's 3. When people talk about Star Wars, they're like, this one's my favorite, this, and then go and number, not a numbered list. That's the word I'm looking for.
You're looking for S tier, A tier, B
Yeah.
tier, yeah.
Because I was like, that way I can give multiple the best rating
Right.
without feeling, because I don't think they're apples to apples. So
That's a fun
been
game.
my life. No, it's not. My life has been in tiered lists the past few weeks. So I was like, oh, this is very utilitarian. I like the way this works. This makes my brain feel good. I'm not undercutting someone.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
That's incredible. Morning. Welcome to Don't Be the Artists. I'm Hagen.
I'm Dave.
Adam.
I'm Jackson.
What was that?
It didn't work. Jackson.
Yeah, you got to do more of that.
It's in a mono format, I believe, when we
Yeah, it is.
bounce this.
It is,
So
but that worked for our sake. Just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
That's all we care about.
Try it again.
when Dave stood up and just started spinning, saying his name, that worked for you?
Yeah.
That did things for me. I really liked it.
What did it do for you?
Things.
What things?
Just
Things. I've been thinking.
You've been thinking?
Thinking.
You've been thinking?
Thinking.
Thinking.
I'm a throw up.
Oh. So pat his back. Burp the baby.
No, Dave's not allowed to hit my back unless I ask ever again.
Did he just punch you in the back one time?
No,
It wasn't a punch. It
it
was
was-
a vicious slap.
but it's because I asked. But only when, whenever I have hiccups, sometimes my hiccup cures don't work. So we were at a very nice, very nice bar here in town, and it was jazz night, and they were playing jazz, and I was like, "Hey, will you hit me in the back?"
Why don't you want to say the bar's name?
I don't know. Just I don't. It feels I'm not speaking negatively or poorly of I don't know.
Now we all know that he's trying to talk poorly about Pascal, right?
I'm not trying to. I would never. So we were there, and my hiccups wouldn't go away, and so I leaned against the bar. I was like, Dave, hit me really hard on the back, and he hit me really fucking hard on the back. My hiccups went away. It's a great way to make it happen.
What he lost in hiccups, he gained in handprint on his back.
Yeah, someone saw it through the shirt that I was wearing. They were like, "What is that on your back?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I reached back and I was like, "Raised skin." And
It was a real monkey's paw situation.
It was, yeah. It was crazy.
Several people turned around because they thought something broke.
Yeah, or someone was something actually bad was happening.
So,
Yeah.
or that they were gonna have to kick people out for fighting in the fancy bar.
No, we did almost get kicked out of Dots though once. Remember that?
No.
Yeah. Well, why don't you refresh him? Or Adam, can you refresh him why they almost got kicked
Oh,
out?
I
of
do
dots?
remember that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were aggressively swinging on the swing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That
on
shouldn't
like
be.
like a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
We were at in Old Monk in Dallas one time, and there were people literally dancing on the bar, like a movie. They got up on the bar and just started dancing.
That seemed to be a thing they encouraged, though.
Yeah,
the bar
and
was
they were
encouraging that.
And I was just like, man, if I went in there and fucking like smashed a glass on the ground, which I think is of the same caliber of that kind of attitude of like, this is dangerous. Anyone could get hurt.
Yeah.
But also it could be fine. I could just break this glass and we'll clean it up. But yeah, I would get kicked out. But those people, they were just straight up just fucking dirty dancing. It was like Coyote Ugly in there. That's a reference for the old heads. Coyote Ugly.
How you guys doing? You guys been having a good couple weeks?
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. What about you, Album?
I'm good. Everybody should go vote. Go vote.
Go vote.
Say it early. You can see Adam's political leanings. We are not endorsed, but
Yeah, that's not how that would work.
And also,
Yeah, I
also
don't
you make it sound like it's just Adam's political leanings.
It's all of our political. If I could
just
vote,
me.
if I could vote, I would vote for Beto.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I did already vote for Beto.
Yeah.
You have to go vote multiple times. That's what I was told.
you guys can vote early.
Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, apparently that's fine now.
I don't think that's good advice.
I'm gonna have dead people vote for him too. Is that cool? Awesome.
You guys be careful. You guys are going to make Neil Young jump off Overcast and whatever platforms we're on.
What?
You remember when Neil Young jumped off of the Spotify platform because of misinformation?
Yeah.
I was making a joke about
Rojogan.
that. Yeah, Rojo.
Does he have a podcast that's on Overcast?
No, it was
No,
just
he's
a
just
joke.
saying that like.
No, I was like,
yeah.
I can't imagine what he would have a podcast about though, other than the failed iPod triangle thing.
People take a look at my
Ponyo?
life.
Yeah.
Or what? That's the Studio Ghibli movie.
Pono.
There you go.
Pogo.
I think it was Pono.
I think that's right.
Go,
I wanted one
Bogo.
so bad.
go Power Rangers.
Mm,
I love that fucking show.
Power Rangers.
Oh my god, dude,
Yeah.
I loved that show.
absolutely.
What?
It's
When I
great.
was a kid.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Why are you confused
That is
by
like
this?
the most accessible. Like
That was the most like surprising thing out of Dave's mouth ever. I think.
it does seem
Was
like
it?
I,
Are you sure?
it
I'm
does.
pretty surprised by this. It doesn't feel like it's something that you would really like.
I went as the White Ranger for like two. No, I went the White Ranger and then
Of course,
the
he
Green
went
Ranger.
as the White Ranger. We all knew it. It does.
Are you sure that's your political leaning, Dave?
Yes.
It seems like it skirts a little close to like video game culture that you're shocked that hey, like
No, no,
That's
Goldfinger
fair.
is
That's fair.
It skirts close to anime.
yeah.
I just wanted to be I was infatuated with like the idea of being a ninja when I was younger.
Did you like Godzilla?
No.
Okay.
I love the Godzilla
There was a movie
movies.
called like the Three Ninjas about these brothers that were defending their house.
yeah with
was really cool.
Chris Farley. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was Beverly Hills Ninja.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. They thought it was a joke.
They thought, yeah,
I was being
I'm
genuine.
right there with you. I think
Yeah.
I was over ninjas by that point.
Yeah.
you
You're
just
over
aged out?
ninjas? Whoa.
Well, I fell out of love with ninja culture.
Well, ninjas
Oh.
are not over you, and they're coming for your ass.
I know, but I don't even know where they are.
Well, that's the thing is
Right.
they're always coming, so you have to keep moving a little bit at.
Are you
all
a
times.
ninja?
That's the thing. Ninjas are
No,
always.
I'm not always coming. I'm just only happy when I'm coming.
What's that garbage song? I'm only happy when it rains.
Yeah, that's
that
it.
garbage?
Yeah, that's garbage. That's that
Yeah.
garbage song.
That's garbage. I want to do a fashion check before we go into the topic, and that this is going to get you into your topic.
Well, I was going to ask, does anybody have news? Any news they want to talk about before we get into what we're
God,
actually
everything
doing?
that's happening, I think in
Nothing's
music
really
has
been going on,
depressing.
right? Yeah. Nothing's happened.
So, yeah, I don't know. All I know is the depressing stuff. I don't really want to talk about.
Sounds
Yay.
good.
Yeah.
He apologized. It's all good.
That apology is the dumbest fucking video I've ever seen.
I know.
So I guess fashion check.
Fashion check. Adam, we already saw your shirt. It's a great shirt. It's an excellent shirt. Dave,
Say it
Just
for
a
the
straight up,
listeners.
straight up black
Yeah,
shirt.
straight up black shirt. Yeah,
We're all wearing black.
we're all wearing
the
black.
Stage
We're all
crew.
wearing- well, yeah, that's right. I'm wearing a shirt I just got in. I also got a crew neck, like a sweater to go with
Is that
it.
what was on your step when we pulled up?
No, that was dog food.
I'm wearing dog food.
So this is
He
this
cut
is,
holes in the bag and he's like wearing it like a potato sack.
and I'm just like shaking around.
Yeah, it'd be very loud.
And
greasy.
So this is merch from a streamer, Hassan Piker, Hassanabi. This is his Himbo Gym merch, and I very much like it. I'm a big fan. On the back is him. I guess I could show the camera, but on the back is him like flexing. It's great.
There's too many wires
It's too many wires.
for you to show the camera.
Got no strings on me.
Nice.
Go to your phone camera. I'll put it on your.
The phone, I deactivated it. It's already
Aw,
off.
dang
I'm
it.
gonna have to go through a bunch of other shit to turn it back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Album. We know what you're wearing.
No, we said
We
we started
Started
with
with him.
Fuck me, man.
The clip on TikTok I'm posting tonight is literally you
Is me doing the
that.
same thing?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dave doesn't listen when I'm
He's
talking.
just
It's
so
fine.
forgettable.
It's fine.
That's exactly what you said.
That's the exact quote.
Now you
then
can
you
do
get-
like a love cam of like how many
Yeah.
times he's done
And
that.
then you
With
say,
like,
"Fuck, you're boring."
God, so aggressive.
Oh, we have a TikTok.
We have a TikTok.
We do.
We have a TikTok. I'll talk about it more at the end, but it's been very fun.
The very thing that whenever I put up a poll of video format or a TikTok, literally no one voted for TikTok. And I was like, well, I know what our fans are like. All the more reason to have a TikTok.
Let's do
Yeah.
both.
Let's
Yeah,
do both. Let's
exactly.
do both. Jackson, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing a shirt which I cannot read what it says. Can anybody read what it says?
When we were ounce.
No.
When we were young.
Oh, you have
Yeah.
to read it like that.
I'm wearing the When We Were Young Festival t-shirt. So what we're doing today, we're doing a bit of a field report. We're doing an overall wrap up of the When We Were Young Festival. I can go ahead and handle this. So the reason why we're talking about this is
Could
because
you handle it because you were there?
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I was gonna say you
How
got
did he know
get
that?
the important detail.
Yeah, so the reason why we're talking about this is obviously because it was very heavily publicized when it was announced, and there was a lot of skepticism and theories about how it would go, what would happen, and what the setup would be. So I ended up buying a ticket, and I went this weekend. So let me give you a bit of history. If you don't remember what the When We Were Young Festival was, what it was is a show that was announced. I believe it was early. Yeah, it says right here it was announced January 18th, 2022 as a one-day event on October 22nd, 2022. This was to be held in what is being said right here, Winchester, Nevada. I don't know what that means because I was in Las Vegas. So it was at the Las Vegas Festival grounds in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so what they did is they announced this festival. And if you guys remember it, maybe you don't remember it, it was this whole festival poster that basically had I don't even know how to explain it, but it had all of the logos of all the bands. And it was very of that era, looked like a MySpace or maybe Imgur type thing, or even on, not 4chan, what's the other one? Tumblr. Looked like Tumblr, graphic design is my passion type thing. It's intentionally kind of the era of the bands that we're talking about. So what it ended up, the bands we are talking about are When We Were Young bands of people when people like me were young. So that's My Chemical Romance, Paramore, Bring Me the Horizon, and a lot more.
A lot more.
A lot
Yeah.
more. So specifically, for the first, and let me go into a little bit more details before I tell you how many bands were actually on the bill. So they announced the day. They announced the one-day event on October 22nd, 2022 of this year. Tickets sold out almost immediately. Hagen and I jumped on because we were both like, we're gonna go to this. This seems super fun.
Yeah, it was a thing where it was like, if it was going to be a shit show, God, I want to be at that shit show.
Also, I had a similar thing when I ended up actually getting tickets, is that if it's a shit show, I can assess the situation and say, hey, this isn't worth being here, and I'm still in Las Vegas, so I'm going to have a good time. Just out the tickets the money for the tickets, which
Yeah.
obviously in a position where I'm comfortable doing that, but not everyone is, blah, blah, blah. Not what we're talking about. Tickets sold out pretty quickly for that day one. We couldn't get tickets for that day one. It was really hard to get into the queue. There was one of those queuing systems like Ticketmaster.
And it was a really weird thing. Now, this is like my position that I wanted to go into with buying these tickets is I was like, let me see how much they cost and let me see what like options there are for like pricing. And they advertised that they were going to have like a payment plan system.
Yeah.
Which is a lie. Because
They didn't need it.
because what happened was they were like, we're not doing the payment plan for like the pre-sales, right? And I'm like, cool. Well, you're not going to have anything past pre-sale. It's all going to sell out.
Yeah.
So whenever I tried to check out with like the payment plan, I was like, why isn't this working? It was like, oh, it's big. I went and spoke to support and they're like, oh, it's because you just can't. And I was like, cool. Well, then I'm not going to When We Were Young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely was a shit show trying to get tickets.
Yeah.
And because of that, tickets sold out almost immediately, within minutes, probably seconds, for that day, October 22nd. And then they added a second day almost immediately. I think they added it that day on January 18th, and then tickets went on sale on January 19th.
It felt like we were in the queue to get tickets,
And then they
announced it. I feel like, I don't know if one of us texted it in the group chat or like if we just saw it or something, but I remember like we were in queue and it was like, oh, they're announcing the second day.
Yeah. And
They,
so
the promoters had to have planned that. Like, hey, if this shit sells out really fast, we're gonna immediately roll out day two.
I didn't mention it. This was created by Live Nation, so it is a mega corporation that knows what they're doing.
They almost certainly had to have contracted like these bands to say, hey, like we need you for these amount of dates.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about this on the podcast at that time too, and we were thinking maybe they have them contracted for 3 or 4 days, and turns out we were sort of correct.
Yeah.
Is it the same band every day? The same bands every day?
Well, it's a 1-day festival.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So day two of the festival was all the same bands.
Day two was just day one repeated. That's
Yes.
all it was.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was that. Matt Skiba of Alkaline Trio asserts that the festival lineup was announced before the bands were committed, but eventually everyone agreed.
We talked about that too, though. That's likely that maybe the bands themselves didn't know, but their managers had already signed off on
There's
this.
a lot of like the smaller bands that were on the bill where they came out and they're like, we didn't know we were on this. This is crazy.
I saw one band go like, we just got asked to play a show with My Chemical Romance. We weren't even told what the show was or what it was going to be.
Yeah.
But of course, you say yes.
Well, and the crazy
And I'm
thing,
telling you, they made the fucking right choice having been there.
and the crazy thing is that it feels so like reminiscent to like that time in music, like being super disorganized, like horrible communication skills, and then maybe a really clear contract for one person to read, but that one person didn't share it to everybody else. Or it's likely that the management was like, yes, we're good, and then everybody they were like, cool, we can announce it. So
Yeah.
So they announced day two, sells out almost as quickly. I was not able to get tickets to it. And then a couple days later, I think, more days passed between this announcement, but then they announced a day three. So day two was going to take place on the 23rd, right after the first day. Day three took place on October 29th, which was a whole week later. So that was already like, holy shit, you guys are able to retain these bands in such a way that like you guys get to play 2 shows back to back, and then you have to come back for it because they're not going to stay there. Most of these
or
bands
just
went toured
hang
and
out
they came
for
back.
a week, which is maybe what some of them did, but not a lot of them.
But that's the ACL thing too. That's the ACL thing. Is you play and then you go tour somewhere else for a week and then
Far
you
enough
come
away.
back and play ACL.
Yeah, your management goes, all right, well, we're going to plan our tour around these 2 dates.
And so that does lend to like, obviously this was a known quantity. Like, management knew, maybe the bands knew, but doesn't matter. So I was able to get a ticket to day 3, which was October 29th, this past weekend. And that really gets us into what we're doing. Weekend 1, any guesses other than Adam? How many bands on the bill?
36.
Isn't it like I actually don't know. Is it like 60, 70, something around there?
Adam, what's your guess?
I'm going to go with 65.
Oh, okay. 65 bands for weekend one, but
Whoa, Adam!
I don't know
Holy
how I knew
shit.
that.
that's
If
crazy.
you're wondering, watch the show on YouTube.
Weekend two does have a different number. Dave.
68.
No.
66.
64.
60.
Close.
Oh.
You should have gone the
Oh.
$1, Bob.
yeah.
Who's
Okay.
the one band who didn't show up for weekend 2?
I don't know who it was.
Well, yeah, because I knew that
well,
I knew that there was a drop off.
there's some swapping, but it's not exactly that.
Okay. So it's not like all 64 bands came back and then one band was like, no, we're good.
There were minor differences between the two, like weekend one, weekend two, but we'll get into that. So there was a lot of skepticism when this was announced of how are they going to do this? It's a one-day festival with 65 bands. What does that look like? If you're looking at the typical festival time slot, which is like a 12-hour deal, which is 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., people are doing the math and saying like, these people are going to have 15-minute sets, stuff like that. If knowing the layout of the Las Vegas festival grounds.
It's emo math. It's not real. It's emo math.
Yeah, and as we mentioned,
It's not called When We Were Mathematicians.
as we mentioned, it's a one day per lineup type thing. Even though the lineup was largely the same for all 3 days, it was one day. You didn't buy the ticket and get access to all 3 days. So there was a lot of skepticism saying like it's going to be 15-minute sets. Basically, they're going to go out, play their hits, then get off. Most of these people have more than 15 minutes worth of hits, and then it's like, oh, and then Mike M and like Paramore are going to get hour-long sets. So there was a lot of skepticism, and there was no announcement of how many tickets were sold, and there was no announcement of how many stages there were going to be, and then also no announcements on how long sets were going to be, anything like that. Did I say how many tickets were sold?
You said
Yeah,
that.
you said that.
Okay. So the Las Vegas Festival Grounds, it has a capacity of, any guesses?
120,000.
Not that much. That's a lot.
Uh,
Feels like a lot.
25,000.
I can't see the answer, but I think it's like 80, 85.
It's 85,000.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Dave's counting our future slideshow. It's 85,000. So they didn't sell 85,000 tickets, but could have been close to that.
Yeah.
But
they have to have
that
space for
capacity
how many
has to
stages.
account for stages, and it has to account for crew.
I'm
and
going to be honest. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Like
that
if you have,
has to work that way.
I was at a festival with 35,000 people, and it was a fuck ton of people.
this was the
don't
most
know how
amount of
many-
people I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how many people were at Cow Jam, but that wasn't crazy, but it was a giant park.
Yeah.
So,
I would imagine.
I would
that
imagine this is
you-
way worse.
You have to account for like all the other variables when
Yeah.
you do that, because like that's with especially what's happened in the last year at least with like festival stuff. You want to play it as safe as possible, and with the
And
crowd
don't
that we're
worry.
about to see, I mean, it's like
That got mentioned by one of the headliners, so we'll get to that.
nice.
So there was a lot of stuff people were saying like this is going to be emo fire festival, so much skepticism. And as we were getting closer and closer, that really just dropped from me. I had no skepticism of this festival happening. In my mind, I was saying, I was like, this is being run by Live Nation, which I'm not saying is a perfect company, but they do know what they're doing
Yeah.
most of the time. But it just dropped from my mind because I was thinking, worst case scenario, what's going to happen at this festival is it might be disorganized enough that a few bands are going to have truncated sets or may not get to play at all. That did not happen at all. So let me give the last bit of history before we get into my experience, my quote unquote field report. When We Were Young was scheduled to start on October 22nd, as we've said. An hour before the festival starts, a notification goes out and says, show's canceled, which doesn't help the skepticism and everyone in the comment section would be like, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. But the reason why it was canceled is the weather. What happened is, so if you don't know Las Vegas, which everyone in the world knows Las Vegas, but it's in a desert, which can have just like really random weather events. And what was happening is they had continuous wind speeds of between 30 mile per hour to 40 miles per hour, with chances of 60 mile per hour instantaneous gusts, like just like random, it would just happen and then it would stop. That is not something. I work in an industry where you have to know the wind speeds, and whenever I heard those speeds, I was like, absolutely not.
He's a race car driver.
That's what I was gonna say.
Jackson was a race car driver.
Jackson was a race car driver. Drove so goddamn fast.
Ooh. I hope my life doesn't end like the end of that song.
I think the thing to also note is that like there's a lot of people who are coming at when we were young when they canceled it for the weather and they were like, this is fucked up, you should have kept it going. And it's like, hey,
no, absolutely not.
They don't build stages to account for this.
It's a temporary city.
Yeah, I don't think you can build a stage to withstand that either. Like something is going to fall and break.
Let's say hypothetically you could build a stage for that. That would be something that's like a stadium that stays put and doesn't move somewhere, right? You can't just build a 1-day festival stage and go, this will stay put no matter what. And like any amount of those wins will easily make a speaker fall or like a person fall or like anything. Like,
it could be as simple as a person falling, but you have all these temporary beer tents, you have the merch tent.
Yep.
All it takes is one of those to lift off the ground. You're going to seriously injure somebody.
Yep.
And every time a stage collapse happens in history, there's been a handful in the past 10 years. Every time a crew member dies.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you call off the festival and think of those speakers you see at those festivals.
The line array speakers.
Imagine one of those flying out into the crowd.
Yeah.
It's just, they made the right call, but with so much skepticism surrounding this, that like as soon as I saw that, I was like, God, the shitheads are going to be out.
People are posting from their hotel rooms like it's fucking canceled.
Yeah. So like it was.
And a difference for other festivals is that you didn't have a ticket for the first day and be able to go to the second day. Correct. There was no like fallback. Oh, hey, sorry, we'll move some bands around and you can still go to part of the festival.
That's the one thing that I will say they kind of fucked up on is that they were like, you'll get a refund in 30 days. Refund them now. Yeah. Instantaneously. You have like you cannot hold their money for 30 days when they all I would say majority of people there probably flew there.
Yeah.
You cannot hold that money for like 30 days.
I would also say that because I was there and that pretty much everyone I talked to was like, I'm from here. Everyone's the closest people I met were from like LA, which is like, I don't know, like a 5-6 hour drive, I think.
And I'm willing to bet most people probably didn't have the money to fly home that day.
Yeah, and so
because they had already paid for a return ticket.
Yeah.
One, and even worse though, in some situations, the festival was selling like hotel packages and things, and they weren't refunding the hotel part. They were like, you have to stay in Las Vegas, which like you can do stuff, but also that still sucks.
Here's a great reminder: do not buy tickets unless it is from a verified reseller or from the source itself. So people who are buying off Craigslist or Reddit or stuff like that, the person they bought it from is getting the refund. And you just got to hope that they have some humanity, but you can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
So just a reminder, if you're going to buy a resale, make sure it's from someone like SeatGeek or StubHub, etc.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of research. And I promise I've gotten ripped off before in the past.
In your day?
Yeah, in my day. When I was
when
young.
you were young?
I've gotten ripped off by a reseller before, and it feels bad. And like, even though it's not your fault that you got ripped off, you can't help but have that guilt in your mind. So just do 5 minutes of research before you buy a ticket. So day one gets canceled, and you saw on TikTok, everywhere on the internet, like 80,000 emos descend upon the strip because everyone's like dressed up in like black parade outfits, and it's just like all black clothes, and it's just like the videos from that day were so hilarious. And I saw people like on Reddit saying like, oh man, my friends, they drove out for the day, didn't have a hotel, and then like it got canceled and now they're bored out of their minds with nothing to do in Vegas. All the comments were like, yes, Las Vegas, the town that is notorious for having nothing to do.
Just do drugs, you asshole.
Yeah.
But lots of bands went on to do like free shows, right?
Yes.
Like pop-up shows.
So here's the thing about this that I think is amazing is that the bands went on to go play shit. They went to go like play shows.
All of the shows were free.
Yeah. And here's the thing that like kind of like pissed me off. So I saw a number of TikToks that were like, they better book the band somewhere else. I'm like, they better do what now? Like, no. The bands got paid for that.
Yeah.
They easily have already been paid for this. Now, the fact of like, sure, they probably want to play, but like, what do you mean they better book? Is that for your sake? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is what a ridiculous take.
And also, you're going to get a refund. It is going to be 30 days, but that's probably because they don't have any money from the festival right now.
Yeah.
But the bands got paid, and they don't have any incentive to go play a show unless they just want to.
And a lot of them did.
Lots of them did.
And you were telling me they were really good about like on the Instagram page that when we were young Instagram, they would actually share where they were all playing.
Yeah, so they shared like Bring Me the Horizon played a
Thursday,
show. All American, Thursday played with Census Fail. All American Rejects played with Red Jumpsuit and Hawthorne Heights, and there were a lot of shows like that, all of which were free. Because guess what? All those bands got paid for that day of playing,
exactly.
no matter what.
Yeah,
that's
and
how
honestly,
that works.
that was probably super fun for those bands to just go play some. Like,
they all said that. They were all
random
like, it was,
small place.
super intimate small place.
Yeah.
As a warm up too for like the next day.
Yeah.
So it's not. I'm not going to go through it, but there is a great article where they basically some newspaper in Las Vegas like interviewed all of the artists, or not all of them, but a lot of them, saying like, "What'd you do with your day off? This unexpected day off, and like, what are you going to do tomorrow? What's that going to be like?" And it's actually really fascinating to see how a lot of these people thought about it. Jim Adkins from Jimmy Eat World was like, "Yeah, we were in denial, so we were trying to make it work and like trying to find like a free show, but then we decided, you know what? Let's just see how this day goes." Chris from Dashboard Confessional was like, "Yeah, I've always said that I would love Las Vegas if I just had a night off here, and here I am. I actually had the night off, so I guess I got to put that to good use." And
He
so
went and cried at a casino somewhere.
so they asked him, "So what'd you do?" And he said, "Oh, my friend Jim and I went and had dinner off the strip." Jim Adkins from Jimmy Eat World. It was so fucking funny. But yeah, there's a great article, and I'll send it to Adam to link in this. But we get into day 2, the festival. It happens. And I was, since I was going to day 3, I was like, I need to be an educated concert goer. I need to know how to be safe at this thing, especially with like Astro World being within the same calendar year.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But recently enough.
It's been a long year.
Yeah. So
It's November. It feels like it's like gone by like that.
Yeah.
Shut up, Hagen.
Like what? Nice.
Go to YouTube, see what we're
I
doing.
gotta timestamp this. I'm gonna show it to my wife.
Don't send that to your wife, man. So, day 2 happens. I'm like watching their Instagram page, watching all the stories they're putting, and I was just like, holy shit, this looks incredible. It's going off without a hitch. No issues were reported. And then I was watching TikTok the next day just to see like people's experience. And like, other than like, there was one band that was really shitty because someone in the band got very drunk and is notorious for doing that. We'll get to it. Other than that, like everyone was great. Everyone played their sets and it was awesome. So I fly out. We're there.
Real quick, I'll say that I'm sure, Dave, you watched a number of TikToks from the festival. I had
Adam?
Absolutely, on my TikTok account.
So
that I have.
You run our TikTok, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's
So
me.
I
He
had
runs from our TikTok.
I had mentioned to you, Jackson, that one of the bands that I would have gone to see, like I would have been like tried to be really close to Day to Remember. I'm a huge Day to Remember fan, and they have released music really consistently since like 2005, 2006 up until now. And I was like, if they play anything new, people are gonna fucking lose their goddamn mind. And I don't think they played a single new song. They played like they have like an acoustic song that's like their like big like
That was their last song.
Yeah, and I saw
I know because I was watching somebody from across because I didn't watch them, but I was watching somebody and I was just like, I turned around and my partner was like, "Aren't they a heavy band?" I was like, "Yeah, this is their biggest song."
It's their second biggest song.
who
But
cares?
yeah. But it's like that. I was like, I saw a TikTok of the crowd screaming that, and I was like, wow, this is like the band's nailed it. Like that alone is proof that a lot of these bands could have played newer material. They could have taken this as an opportunity to be like, look, we're not
Hey, we're still a band.
Yeah, we're still a band. Check out my collab with Marshmello. No,
Wasn't like that at all.
Yeah, it's super cool.
You got to lean into it.
Yeah.
Especially the whole like
Most people
concept
did.
of the show. You have to just know that this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I didn't mention is there was a lot of skepticism of how many stages they're going to have. And then there was this thought of like, oh, it's going to be rotating stages where you have like a stage on the back where you can set everything up. And then it's like on a dolly type situation or like a Lazy Susan where it just rotates and then they're ready to just plug and play. Only one stage did have that. And it was the smallest stage, which was the neon tent stage, which was great if you just needed a break from the heat. And
They
then
probably also have the shortest set times, though, yeah?
yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them. It depends. Because I saw Poppy there, and she had a 25-minute set. Travis Barker's kid played a 10-minute set.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And like it was like literally
A 10-minute set, did you say?
and it was odd.
Probably
Yes.
knows that many
It
songs.
said like 9:05 to like 9:17, so a little bit over 10 minutes.
Whoa.
It was weird. It was that specific. Like
I hate that.
it's like it
I
was
don't
like
even feel like I'm on
pre-programmed.
stage until the third song.
Right. So and then also they announced the set times the Monday before each week. And what we ended up seeing is all sets were between 30 minutes to an hour, except for a handful. Like Poppy had slightly less than an hour, slightly less than 30 minutes. And then like some of the younger emo rappers were playing like 15-minute sets.
Yeah.
And that almost seemed like they were imposing that on themselves, which was strange. So with that, we can get into, if you're watching the video podcast, we do have a little bit of flair for you guys, a little bit of...
We're gonna disappear on camera for a second. I have to fix something, but we are switching over to the slideshow.
We're switching over to a slideshow. is
To a
what I said.
slideshow.
Yeah, slideshow. I will be explaining all the pictures, so don't you worry, audio only listeners. If you're driving your car, keep driving that car. Maybe pause this, listen to a little bit of Hawthorne Heights, some Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, face down. Do whatever you want, and then you can watch the video later.
But keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah, keep them eyes on that road. So we're in Las Vegas, October 29th. I look at the festival lineup and I decide, I've circled everything in red, which is one of the pictures we'll get to if you're curious of what exactly I saw at the festival and want to ask me questions about that. But we show up and I have bought tickets to this show. And just for full transparency, I believe what I paid, I don't remember exactly, but it was between $250 to $300 per ticket. And I went with a couple people.
Which, when you think about like the caliber of bands you can see, if this is up your alley, that's decently priced.
Worth every penny.
Yeah,
It was worth every penny.
Even if you only see like 5 or 6 bands, it's like not that bad.
Having gone now, it was worth every penny. But I did buy those tickets knowing, hey, this might be a bit of a loss for me. There might be a situation where I get there and say, this is not safe or this is not a crowd I want to be in. So theoretically, I'm about to be around 80,000 to 8,497 strangers. Hagen, it looks perfect. Don't worry about it.
Did that whole thing just happen on the video too?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Bit of technical difficulties.
We'll just
Yeah.
fix it in post. It's
It
fine.
wouldn't be a
There's
festival.
no post, man.
There's barely any pre.
There's so much pre, man. There's so much pre. I clicked the button and it did that, and I was like, why is it doing that?
It wouldn't be a festival if there weren't some technical difficulties. I think that looks great. Don't stress about it, Hagen. So what we're getting into is I show up and I look and I decide, you know what, I'm going to be there all day. I get there when doors open at 11, and basically, if you looked at the set times, it said My Kim was the last band. They go on at 10:40 p.m. So you have to think they're going to play hour and a half probably.
Yeah.
Which is what they did. So it was a long day. It was it's the desert, so it was cold at night, like very cold and dry. And then in the daytime, it got up to like 75, but it was like direct sunlight. The UV index was only 4 out of 10, so you feel the sun's intensity, but you're not getting like sunburns.
Did you lube up?
I did not, because I'm dating a ginger, and she knows
She needed all the lube.
lot about She knows a lot about the UV index and said, out of 4, you're not going to get a burn.
Cool.
And she did not get burned at all. So
Nice.
we go into this.
Sorry, I've been out for quite some time. I just got back in. I just got back in.
I'm dating a ginger, and she knew we would be okay. Nice.
So I'm there, and we show up at 11 a.m. What you are looking at here in this first picture is the line we walk up to. So there were a couple packages. There was the general admission, there was the general admission plus, and then the VIP. I don't remember what's in the general admission plus and the VIP, but there was like a special little section for them, and they got like that little like pin up right up at the
you got
front.
a little private-ish kind
But
of area.
like right up at the front, like you get the best seat no matter what.
That looks better.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does
it
look
does.
better.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks, guys.
So What I
Good job.
walk up to, and I expected this with the, showing up right as doors open, but there was no organization to the line. I was just like, holy shit, this bodes very poorly. Go ahead.
Was it organization when you got to like the end of the
Yeah,
line?
yeah. The last maybe, I don't know, 20%.
I feel like that was like going into like Disney. It was like
It's much worse. It was
Just a
much
mob
worse
of people,
than
and
this.
then
It
you
was
finally
just-
get to like, oh, there's a person who can tell us what to do.
Well, it'd be like because like with Disney, there's the 2 parks you can go into. So when there's a lot of people trying to go in, it's like I don't know what line I'm supposed to get into. I can't tell what's going where, and there's just a lot of people going every. I'm sure that was worse, but that's just the perhaps a way to understand it.
So if you look at this picture we're pulling up, it is a mass of people. You see some white tents. You see I forget what that mountain range in the background is. You see a little, you see a little skull that looks like the Skull Candy logo over in the left. It's a lot of people. And this is when the doors open, which you have to assume, there's going to be a lot of people trying to get there for an all-day thing, but you also have to think there's going to be a lot more people coming midday. So there's a little break in this picture to the right-hand side where you see there's not really a bunch of people, and then to the right of that is the GA Plus / VIP people who got the quote-unquote fast lane. Can you guys guess which one of these 2 crowds moved faster? It looks like there's about 8, maybe 7 tents pulling people in for the regular GA crowd and 3 tents for the VIP. I'm going to let you know. It was us in the GA.
Yeah.
The GA went much faster than the GA Plus.
What was there? Was there a lot more they had to check for GA Plus though?
No.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it was the same thing. Exact same thing. They had a wristband, whereas the GA people, the normies, all we had was a QR code. And by the way, they did let us go in and out. You were allowed to go in and out, which most people didn't, but that was allowed. So it wasn't like, hey, you get in, you're fucked. You have to stay for the whole day. We moved much faster. I was like just laughing to myself that like those people paid like $500, but they got a lot more perks than that. So we get in. It took maybe about 20-30 minutes to get in.
That's
but
not bad.
That's not bad at
That's
all.
not bad at all.
It wasn't
I
bad
thought
at
you were
all.
going to say about an hour.
Yeah, I was prepped. I was prepped for an hour.
I've waited in line at Chipotle longer than that.
Everybody was having a good time. Everybody was hyped.
They were new.
I got to see a lot of good platform shoes, a lot of fishnets. The common joke was, I would love to see the stats on Amazon for fishnets 3 weeks before these festivals.
I also like this like brings to question more like the whole like whenever I go to something like this, I would like to dress like I want to look cool, but I also want to be comfortable, right? No. But like I don't. You find the fine line, but comfortable is the most important part of that. I don't know how many people. I don't know like how people survived. Well, there was like I don't know if you got a picture of it, but there was like the makeup corner. There's like the redo your makeup section.
I don't have the picture of that, but they had a lot of little amenities like that where you could get your makeup done for free by people, that kind of stuff. One thing to keep in mind, and if you're not paying attention, this is Halloween weekend. So there were a lot of people dressed up in Halloween clothes for the When We Were Young. And of course there was a Jack Sparrow.
Didn't you think about doing it?
I thought about it, but I was just like, it's not worth it. My crew, we were all like, look, you guys all look great. All y'all look great in your platform shoes. All you dudes who are just wearing your hoodies, all that kind of stuff. You guys all look great. But fuck that. We're going functional. It was the total right call.
Absolutely. Especially when it's this pinpointed of a crowd. It's like we all know we all like the same music. So just be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So
the bands aren't going to notice you.
It's also called When We Were Young. It's okay if you don't dress the same way now.
Yeah.
So we
Probably prefer.
Nobody there is going to be like, oh, you're not a real fan.
Yeah. But it's also like a fun thing to go backwards and go, I want to dress like I did. So that's something I totally understand about it. But it confuses me further. Like I see people like do like the festival outfits for the big like the Coachellas and Lollapalooza.
Yep.
Slow down, man.
The Lollapaloozas.
Hey.
Don't play the fucking thing.
I'm not gonna do it. Okay. So but I see those outfits and I'm like, that's a lot of effort, and you're putting yourself in a situation to be uncomfortable. This at least has like there's like the whole theme of When We Were Young. We're gonna do this whole. It's nice, but it's like I don't know how you're putting yourself through that. That's so tough.
Luckily, it was 76 degrees, like max that day. So and it was sun, so it was pretty hot. But there were tents, there were shade tents all over, like
Right.
just like places for you to sit under the shade, not like, oh, you have to be right up next to the show. Like they were just dispersed throughout the festival grounds.
That's cool.
And as I said, there was a tinted stage where they put a lot of the smaller acts, but it was great because that's where a lot of people were just going to sit down and just like relax. That's where like Alex G was and Poppy. And so it was really nice to just get a calm. If you have an eagle eye, what you'll see right up here to the like bottom left of this picture, you'll see a Jack Skellington, which was the start of my day and saying, let's have a game. Let's see who can find the most Nightmare Before Christmas merch. And boy, the day went on real long. There's no game. There's no game. Okay, Hagen's got the a shot glass. I'll pour my Dr. Pepper. But it was like, whatever you're thinking, it was all over the fucking place. That shit was everywhere. There was a dude dressed up as Jack Sparrow, obviously running around acting drunk. Super annoying.
Probably was drunk.
Yeah, probably was. But let's move on to the next slide. We get into the festival, and I get to see what we're looking at is I have a map of the festival grounds just to give everybody a little bit
You don't
of
have it yet. Don't worry. Hold on.
So we have a map of the festival grounds, and what you're going to see is like this is the Las Vegas festival grounds, and there's this choking point where like when you walk in, there's a bunch of drinks, like bars, there's a bunch of food, and there's like an arch that says "When We Were Young" on it.
It's a emo arc.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. Nobody said that when I was there.
Is that an official thing?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
I don't get what that means, but so you walk in and it's one of those like arches, and it says like "When We Were Young" and has those skulls, stuff like all reminiscent of the area. But if you look at the map, what you see is there's this choking point where like all those people who just got in are still being corralled through like a corridor. So I immediately am thinking, fuck. I forgot that it opened up. So we're all having that feeling of like, this is going to be a long day. The heat was on you. Luckily, you hit almost instantly a shade tent, which was very cool that they had a bunch of black umbrellas that they turned upside down, and that was the whole shade tent.
That's cool.
They had a true UV shade above it, but they it looked very like Hot Topic-esque. But they had hydration stations everywhere. You could bring in your water bottles, typical festival stuff, but they were really advocating, hey, make sure you hydrate, that kind of stuff. Super long lines on the food and drinks right as you walked in. And
I saw so many pictures of the lines.
I was so stressed about that, thinking like, I'm not going to be able to eat all day. But guess what? As soon as you get through, go ahead, Hagen. Question.
Sure, you can finish. You can finish what
go
you're
ahead.
saying. I raised it so you can finish what you're saying.
So once you got through that corridor, the whole festival grounds opens up, and it is just a wide space. Like it's not a massive area. It's not this massive park, but it's big enough that I never felt like crushed by people, but it was small enough that all of the 5 stages, which we'll go through, all of the 5 stages, I was able to just hop around because all these sets were back to back. There was never a stage that didn't have somebody on it. And if that stage had somebody on it, somebody started right after them. So it was nonstop. So there was never a point where I was like, I can't make it from the very farthest stage, the stripe stage, all the way to the pink stage. I always had that opportunity. What's your question, Hagen?
Did they have the system like they have at like ACL and other festivals where you can like do like the wristband with like the scan, attach your card to it, and you don't have to like have your wallet with you?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They had a bunch of lockers, and I think like probably the VIP/GA plus people were able to do that, but I'm not sure.
So I think that's like probably one of the like most useful things I've seen at a festival is like not having to carry your wallet around, is just having it attached to like your wristband.
It's useful for everybody involved in the festival.
Yeah.
One thing I did not love, so you have all your vendor stands, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty par for the course. Then they had a merch for the festival booth, and then they had a merch for the bands booth. The merch for the bands booth allegedly never got below an hour wait the entire time, so not worth it to miss your bands. I got this shirt for the festival shirt, got it in like 10 minutes.
Nice.
It wasn't a bad wait at all. Got in one of my lulls.
I saw a like a haul, like a merch haul on TikTok, and they had like band merch. They had When We Were Young merch, and I was like, you probably only heard music from afar, and were in line, except for seeing like Paramore and MCR. Everything else you probably like just heard from afar.
Have y'all ever seen a merch set up at a festival?
Yeah.
It's insane. It
Yeah.
is just a wall. And it's like I can't even this, like the sensation. There's too much happening in front of me. Even if I wanted something on that wall, I would not be able to, I would get vertigo looking at it.
Dude, the Cal Jam merch booth was like I think I was in that line for probably close to an hour.
Something like that, yeah.
And it was like I was just like standing there like, okay, I'm just gonna, I know what I want. And then the longer I sat there, I was like, I want everything now.
Or you have to worry about, will they have it when I get to the front of the line?
Yeah.
Which the answer was no for some of that.
They show on the map rideshare drop-off. Rideshare drop-off was nowhere near the festival, as they make it seem. It was very far off. They had like basically the whole like streets next to the festival shut down. No one could get through, which was nice for walking, but getting there, it was a bitch. But there's shaded tents everywhere. The biggest thing that I did not love is the VIP section. So this was that thing where you have like, oh, you paid for VIP, and now you get to, on every stage, except for the neon tent stage, you get to be up front no matter what. The only place where it really screwed people over was the pink stage. So now we're going to get into our next photos where what it is I just have a couple example photos to show you what the stages look like. So what we have is the black and the pink stage. These are the headliner stages. So they are right next to each other. So just for reference, what this is this is where like Paramore would play. And then you had My Chemical Romance, Bring Me the Horizon, A Day to Remember, Avril Lavigne on Weekend One, Bright Eyes. All the big bands played here, Jimmy Eat World. And it was a great setup. I saw this and I was very skeptical. I was like, there's pink stage on the right, black stage on the right, and they are on the left, black stages. And what you see is they're actually smashed together. They are not like, oh, there's some space in between. So if you're sitting there watching a band on the pink stage, immediately when they're done, the black stage starts. It's a great setup. It was amazing.
Is that turf there too on the ground?
Yep.
So they put that down.
No,
it's already there. Oh, because it's
the
a
festival
previous
ground
festival grounds. Okay.
Which was incredible. Not the entire festival ground was turf, but like when you, after standing for like 13 hours, whenever I went from the concrete to the turf for my last like 3 bands of the night, I was just like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Felt so good.
Could you imagine like being crew with like your fucking like headset going like, all right, band starts now. Okay, band's done. Like that timing is so insane. Like that.
Also, not to mention, I played a gig one time where we were supposed to start after a boxing fight ended on TV, and I fucking hated the guy going, "Hey, start now!" And I was just like, "Fuck off, man!" Like, I fucking hated that.
Well, like I don't know.
I understand on this scale of a show, but like,
yeah. Have you guys seen those videos of TV producers who are standing behind like the board, like telling people like, all right, cut to this, cut to that. It's got to be instantaneous shit.
Yeah.
And that like this kind of production, instantaneous, is like trying to get emos to do anything is tough. Like trying to get
okay,
them to,
ready,
like,
ready, Paramore, ready. Okay, Paramore, go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like and who knows? Like I'm you could answer this now, but like a lot of times, even at festivals, set times are not exact.
Yeah,
they everyone does their best, assumedly, but like festival, like the time slots are not exact.
I was shocked at how exact they were. It
Nice.
was
Wow.
On all the bands I saw, which obviously weren't all 64 for my weekend. I never saw a band not start on time. And I never saw a band go over their time. Some of them ended like they would have like, oh, you play from 6:30 to 7, and they would play till 6:58 and be done.
Right.
But like for like everybody stopped on time. It was incredible. So this first picture you see, I mean, this is the first band I wanted to see was the Linda Lindas, who I've talked about. I was so happy. These are like, I think they're 11 or 12-year-olds. I talked about them. They went viral for that song.
Wasn't one of them like 13 or
yeah,
one
something
of
like
them's
that.
older,
but they're all kids,
Yeah.
and they went viral for that song "Racist Sexist Boy," and then they released this like pop punk record that's so good, one of the best albums of the year. And like, I felt myself, I was a little worried about having like nostalgia overload going into this festival, and this was one of those moments where like right out the gate, I saw these like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds like just kicking ass, sounding amazing. And then I was like, they're playing on this stage, and there were tons of people there. And I felt like I had like goosebumps, and like I felt myself under my shades, like about to cry. And I was like, no, you can't cry this
Save
early.
your tears later.
Yeah, I was like, you can't do it. But it was so good, and I was just like, I was absolutely shocked at how much they killed it for the like my first band of the day. I think they were technically the second band. So that's a Black and Pink stage, just to give you a little like they were right back to back to each other, and that's where all the headliners were playing. That's where I saw Paramore and My Chemical Romance, all that kind of stuff.
Did you take this picture knowing you were going to put it on the show?
Yeah.
Nice. Good job.
I have so many more photos like this, but this was the clearest one. I basically only took photos to show on the show. So this next one...
Not up yet. One sec. Keep going.
The next one we will have is the neon tent stage, which it was the tinted... This is where people like Mom Jeans played. You had State Champs, Poppy. I saw Alex G there. It was very much the kind of like, this is where you got to go see the smaller bands. One of the people I went with, he was very into, he's like, I want to see Mom Jeans. I want to see these people. He was into that newer emo, if that's what you want to call it.
What's up?
So what you see, there's fans in there. It's a tinted stage. This is the only stage that had the rotating platform. So it's kind of hard to see in this photo. I did put a video. I don't know if Hagen will be able to show it, but there's basically exactly what I talked about. There's a Lazy Susan, and like while Mom Jeans was, so I went to see Poppy, and we caught the last like 3 songs of State Champs, and they basically ended their set, walked off, and then the platform just started rotating. Poppy's band was on there. They hit play. Poppy walks out.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
Imagine how cool that would be to be in a band waiting. Like the drummer
To be
in a fucking
turned
band,
around.
and then you get turned around. and
But
it's
imagine you're hearing like ostensibly this band's best song, and that you're immediately going to follow up. Not because there's a little bit of that dead time whenever, if a band right before us plays and they kick ass, there's 15 minutes minimum between like, okay, let's hope they kind of forget that band and like give us a chance. Because you don't start with your best song typically. So really the big thing that I want to show on that is at the tent stage, it was great. You can see fans up at the top of it, and then you can see like there's just a lot of shade, which like it was really nice to just get out of the sun. This was a great spot for like Alex G. There was a lot of room in there, so a lot of people were just sitting on the ground listening to the music. Perfect music to just chill to, kind of like when we saw Andrew Bird. It was a nice, just like you could be calm about it.
People were like sitting down for that. People were just like chilling.
Yeah, that's how it was for this festival. There was enough heat that So moving on to our next, our 2 final stages is what we had were I believe is the checkered stage and then the stripe stage. So this is where they put more of like the hardcore bands. You had bands like Knocked Loose, Ice Nine Kills, and there were people like Hawthorne Heights, which kind of straddle that line. But a lot of the bands that, they were big enough, but they weren't going to be on the main stage. So you had All American Rejects, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, stuff like that. Earlier in the day stuff, but then some of those were towards the evening. These were the places that you walked immediately into. You would see them. And this is where I kind of started off my day, but really super easy. There was great views from anywhere on these. Only... The sound wasn't even bad on really any of these stages. There wasn't bad bleed. Really nothing to say on these, but as you can see in the photo, they're not back like side to side like the pink and black stage. They were enough that you had to walk a little bit, but like it was like I watched Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and then as soon as their set ended, I walked over and Hawthorne Heights was like starting their set. It was perfect. It was really nice. I've never been to Warped Tour, but everyone kept saying, oh, this is just like Warped Tour. Every single band is like, do you guys remember Warped Tour?
This looks like if Warped Tour actually worked.
And that's what I heard from friends who I have already told about this. They're like, oh yeah, like they never announced set times for Warped Tour.
No.
You would show up day of and you would be like, okay, you would go immediately to see who's playing when, and you would be like, oh shit, well, I'm not going to be able to see this band because this band where there was no allowance for prep.
As soon as you walked into Warped Tour, you find like the giant poster that was posted, and it was like a huge thing of the
change day to day too.
And you have to like you're like staring up at this giant. Okay, so I can go see them. Okay, I can go see them. Okay, wait. So that stage is right next to this one, and it's like it's super duper annoying.
Yeah. So in this picture, I'm seeing Hawthorne Heights at the Checkers stage. So moving on from there, really nothing to. These are the most like cut and dry. This last photo. This is where I was for My Chemical Romance.
Nice.
Just to show. There was a lot of like, okay, so many people there. And as the day went on, there were moments when like between sets, there was just this mass of people moving, but there, not uncomfortably so, but I'm a bit of a claustrophobic person. So there were moments of like, this is a lot of people. But for the last band, the band that everyone was there for, if you look in this picture, you can see I have a ton of room around me and I'm maybe a football field away from them, which when you're talking about 80,000 people, that's not bad at all.
That's great.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was cold at that time, so it was really nice. I don't know how any of these bands sang in such dry conditions. It was like uncomfortably dry to where at one point I was singing so much that I was like, I'm going to mime the words now because like I only have so much water in my bottle and I can't get to the hydration station. By the way, your cell phone doesn't work at these festivals. So if you leave your people, you're screwed. We basically said like, if we get like split up, we'll see you at the hotel. Like, try and find us, but like, good luck. So, going on to our next slide, what I have put in here just for anybody's reference, these are the bands that I saw. I'm not going to go through them all, but I'm not going to tell you my favorite set until what we're listening to as an incentive for people to hear what I have to think.
I want you to like, you can break down what you saw, but I have studied this and I studied how you guys like saw things, and I was like, man, I wouldn't have hung out with you guys very much if I was there.
Yeah, no, you probably wouldn't, because like we were all adamantly against seeing bands like A Day to Remember and so there were a lot of bands like, if you see in this, bands that I like The Used and AFI, both of which I've seen in the past year. So I thought, okay, that's a good, if you look at this, the span between Dashboard and my next band, Jimmy Eat World, that's where they were. So like, why didn't you guys see them? I was like, well, I needed some relaxed time. I needed to get food, that kind of thing. And it was perfect for that. I did walk around. I had a couple surreal moments where like, I was just like, holy shit. Everyone only has the right amount of time to play all their hits if they have enough. And maybe some of them, it was like most hits and then 1 to 2 songs of their choice. And there were a couple of surreal moments where like I remember going to pee during my break between some bands and just sitting there peeing and hearing The Used play the song All That I Got. And I was just like, holy shit, like this song means so much to me. And this is my pee break.
Yeah.
That just shows like how stacked this lineup was. There was a moment. So the hardest decision I had, Avril Lavigne was supposed to play our weekend, but she had to drop out. Death Cab for Cutie jumped on, which was so funny. There was all those jokes of like, this is not my when I was young. Mine would be like, Death Cab for Cutie. Well, they jumped on.
Yeah.
So I basically, the hardest decision I had was Death Cab for Cutie, All American Rejects, Poppy, all of which I wanted to see. We chose Poppy. From the Neon stage, which was the tinted stage, you could turn around and see Black and Pink, and you could hear them. So basically, there was a moment where I was watching Poppy, and I heard to my right, I heard Swing Swing by All American Rejects, and then I heard to the left, I Will Possess Your Heart by Death Cab for Cutie, and I'm just sitting there, I was like, this is like, I'm getting overwhelmed with the nostalgia here. That was like, there is a hit here, and here. Yeah. And then the same thing happened a moment later. Poppy ends a song, and then I hear All American Rejects playing Paper Heart, which is a song that I'm like, oh my God, I forgot this song. This was like my MySpace song forever. And then I hear Death Cab going into another, like I think it was like Crooked Teeth or something like that. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is staggering. But there was a lot of moments like that. And even another example is after the Linda Lindas, we needed to rush over to get to Red Jumpsuit Apparatus and Hawthorne Heights, which were back to back. And we decided, let's go get, I wanted a soda, and the people I was with wanted a beer. And so we go immediately from the Pink stage, which is the main stage, get that. And we're just talking to the people, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys have the lineup, the people at the bar?" And I said, "Yeah, here, let me show it to you," because you couldn't get any reception. So they took a picture of my phone, and they're like, "Who's that?" And I turned around and I was like, "Well, that's Seosin." And they're like, "How do you know that?" And I was like, "Well, that's Anthony Green. That guy has the most unique voice I've ever heard."
Yeah.
And I was just like watching. I was like, "This is crazy that I'm literally walking away from Seosin
to get a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like I come back after Hawthorne Heights and I'm like, I don't like Under Oath, but I'm sitting there like, holy shit, that's Under Oath just right there, who jumped on last minute."
Yeah.
And there was a lot of moments like that of just like back-to-back people of just like staggering nostalgia, but also just like every single person, every band that played, except for one, which I will talk about in a moment, was just like, this is so amazing. We're so glad. I know the old adage that it's not a phase, but you guys, this is what 40 looks like, an elder emo. I'm 40 emo, and like, I'm so happy you guys are here. This is like the best day of our lives. And I never got the sense that they were just saying that, because it genuinely felt like this is the best show that All American Rejects is going to play for a while, if not ever.
Right.
And it was incredible. Then you get into the headliners at the end of the day. This is one of the first festivals where I've just stayed on the headlining stage almost entirely. Bright Eyes. This band stood out to me so much of why are they here? Yeah, I know a lot of people are super into them, but I don't think they fit there. Connor Oberst came out, was obviously shit-faced, and he just, the entire set was saying, "Don't worry, we're going to get off stage soon so you can see what you want to see. I know you guys just want to see Paramore." And then he was saying, "Oh, yeah," he was doing shit like that the entire time. All of us in the crowd, like most of the crowd sat down for his set because they were just like, "We're done with you. Like, you guys are being assholes."
I saw lots of videos of him rambling on.
It was really bad. And it was one of those things where most people were like immediately shit talking. And I was like, this is a broken man. This man is clearly an alcoholic and he's broken. This is just really sad to see. I wouldn't be shocked if we heard like, you know, in a couple of weeks, "Oh, Connor Oberst is dead." And I'm like, that's how like shocking this was as a participant. That was such a lose-lose situation for everyone. His band felt like they were being held hostage. It's a lose for the crowd because there were people who were there to see them. And then it's a lose for him because he clearly has an illness that needs to get addressed. It was just, I can't tell you, do not go see Bright Eyes if you're a fan. I have seen one of my favorite bands, and the singer was shit-faced. And I remember leaving that and just feeling embarrassed because I was like, this sucks. So that was the worst set of the entire festival. Moving on from that, I know I have circled Alkaline Trio here, but we ended up, we're saying like, oh, let's just get a good spot for Paramore and My Chemical Romance. And I was like, you know, I don't really like Bring Me the Horizon, but it'll be fun to see them. Holy shit, they were incredible. I still don't like their music.
Yeah.
But I was like, the stage setup was incredible. There was like pyrotechnics. There was like, to my right the entire time, we had a row of police, and one of the cops was doing that classic move where he had his hands on his chest like Bane, holding his jacket. And I saw him just mouthing all the lyrics for the entire set.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him just going to his deputy or whatever, just being like, "Please, please, please put me on patrol. Please put me on patrol."
But it was incredible. Somebody passed out in the middle of their set, in the middle of the crowd. Ollie Sykes, the singer, said, "Stop." He's like, "Oh, everybody stop. Everybody stop. Somebody needs help." And then basically like stopped the set, and they had a tight time. They had just under an hour, and basically said, "You guys can't," he said, "I'm sorry guys. I know you guys want to hear these songs, but we have to wait until this guy's okay." And then he said, "We don't want another fucking, we don't need no Astro World here." And I was like, holy shit.
Holy shit.
I can't believe he said that.
Sorry
I'm
to
surprised
sidetrack.
they didn't have something in the contract about not saying that.
Yeah. I just saw that Kitty closed the Stripe stage. Do you guys know that band, Kitty?
No.
It's like an all-female metal band from the 90s.
There's a lot of bands that were playing like during my cam, and it was just like,
That sucks.
we had one of our friends who like heard Black Parade and was like, "I'm done. That's all I wanted to hear," which was halfway through their set. And then he said he went over to those stages. I was like, how sad was it over there? He said it was really bad. He said it looked like a local show over on the other
That
stages.
sucks.
I was like, "Hey, do you want to headline when we were young festival?" "Yes, you'll be playing at the same time as My Chemical Romance and Paramore."
Yeah.
Fuck.
That doesn't
Yeah.
seem fair
That's
to
not
those
fair at
like
all.
4 or 5 bands at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, other than Bright Eyes, every band was incredible. There was a lot of bands on here that I caught a couple songs on, and there were bands that, you know, I wish I could have seen, but I'm not upset with the decisions I made.
No, that's hard. That's hard to make the right call.
Yeah. In summation of this festival, there was a lot of skepticism of what it was going to be, if it was going to be executed properly. This, hands down, was the best festival I've ever been to. I don't see it being topped anytime soon, if ever. This was so good, so much better than any festival I've ever been to. And the reason I say that is like it was so well curated. Every time I've been to Austin City Limits or any festival like that, there are a lot of bands I want to see, but then there's like so much more. There's like 80% of the bands like I don't know, and maybe I'm going to enjoy a lot of them. Even a fraction of them's a good win for me. But at the end of the day, it jumps. You're going to see Vampire Weekend, and then you're going to see Radiohead, which I think are just like diametrically different. They're both great, but they're just so different. Whereas this, I was like, honestly, I could land pretty much anywhere, and I'm great. Like I would have loved to see Atreyu. I would have loved to see Story of the Year. Even 303 would have probably been fun. I miss Glassjaw and Senses Fail. Like,
oh yeah, Dashboard and Glassjaw are played at the same time, and that would have been a tough call for me.
For the most part, other than Dashboard and My Kim, I only saw bands I hadn't seen before. But those two, I was just like, I had just seen My Kim, and I was like, I can't miss that. That was so good. I can't even like, because the option would have been, they were the last band to play. The option would have been like, oh, let's get out before the crowd leaves. And so I guess what the last thing, when we left, we said like, we were staying 3 miles away, and we said, okay, let's walk enough till the crowd thins out, sit at a casino for 30 minutes, get a lift back. There was no way. I've never seen this much fucking people walk. They had blocks closed down where like, they were like, you're not walking on the sidewalk, get in the street. They basically had corralled everyone to just walk down the street. Wow. It was insane. It wasn't until you got maybe a mile and a half away from the grounds that they said, okay, now get on the streets or on the sidewalk.
That's crazy.
It was insane. Most people I've ever seen, but it was this situation of like, everybody had bought in. Everybody was so into it. So there was no negativity. There was no like people being skeptical there. And it was just one of those things where like there's so much negativity surrounding things. And I think if you look, often you will find it is mostly by people who didn't go to the place or, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I'll say that I would have been with you up until the end of Alex G. And then I would have fucked off shortly after that. And I would have been at Knocked Loose, 4 Years Strong.
Would have loved to see Knocked Loose, but I couldn't miss Jimmy Eat World. That's been on my list for a while.
And then A Day to Remember, and then Dance Gavin Dance, and then I meet up with you again at Paramore.
Can you guys guess of the bands who we saw the most merch for? People who were already wearing shirts and stuff.
I guess My Kim.
Yeah, I was going to assume. But
Or Paramore.
I think My Kim was like 2. I saw 0 Paramore merch.
it would be funny if it was Def Cab for Cutie.
Are you mentioning it because it's Dance Gavin Dance?
It's not.
Okay.
I didn't even know they were playing. Nobody was talking about them.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of Dance Gavin Dance.
I'm telling you, not a single person talked about that show. I talked to pretty much. This is what I'm talking about. People had like bought in so much that there was none of that feeling of like, I was waiting to get food, and like we were all talking, hey, who are you here to see? I didn't know any of these people. We were all just sharing like, oh, I want to see this band. I want to see this band. Not a single person was talking about Dance Gavin Dance. That was news to me that you just said right there that they were playing. I didn't even know. I had no fucking clue.
I would have been there.
Yeah. When did they play? Where are they?
Late Stripe stage, like next to Alkaline.
Fuck, I don't even see them, dude. Where are you?
Stripe stage.
Top right of Alkaline.
Man, you would have missed. I can't see. That would have been button up real close to Paramore.
Yeah,
you would have missed Bring Me the Horizon, which I'm sure you don't care about.
Thursday and Paramore played at the same time. That sucks.
Yeah, Thursday got the fucking shafted.
Yeah.
To be honest, I wish I had seen Thursday way more than Paramore.
Damn.
Everybody I was with a very big Paramore fan who said, that set was fine. And I said, and I'm sorry to shit on Paramore here, but this is the only band I'm going to shit on here other than Bright Eyes. Bright Eyes do not pay for a ticket. That man needs help. Don't pay for a ticket until he's obviously gotten his affairs in order. I'm not trying to shit on somebody who's got a disease, but Paramore, if you like Paramore, you'll probably like their show. But like, I remember I was like, I don't like Paramore, but look, I'll give them a fair chance. I get to wait, and I went New Zealand for a second there. I'll give them
what
a
the
fair
fuck
chance.
was that?
And I was like, as soon as their set ended, my chem started immediately. So I was like, perfect, it'll be fine. I remember looking at my clock thinking like, okay, surely they've got like 10 minutes left, and it was like 40 minutes left. I was, good fucking Lord. I checked out so hard during their set. So
I tell you what, if
it's
I were
official, I will never be a Paramore fan ever. And that's one of the bands who did not play their songs, like their older songs. They played one song from their first record, and then they played the 2 obvious songs from Riot, and then the rest were all like newer stuff.
After Laughter and
Yeah. And all the people around me were like, this sucks that they're not like tailored to this show. This sucks that they're not doing that. And everyone was like, yeah, they're known not to do that. I was like, you kind of hope that they would do that for this festival though.
Yeah.
I would honestly like assume they wouldn't, because like their first album people don't like very much, and then like the other stuff people really only care about Misery Business, and like that's about it. So why the fuck would you go back and play all the other stuff no one gives a shit about? Plus, like when you're super like when you have had a successful run with your same crowd, play whatever you want. Like you have this like. I
think
sure
people
there's-
really enjoyed them. I think it was just my group that was like, yeah, we're done with this. And yeah, I really wish I had seen Thursday instead.
I tell you what, if I were in Thursday, I would be like hyping the band up, like let's play the best fucking set we ever can. Like anything you can muster to have a better show than normal, do it.
Taking Back Sunday, one of my favorite bands, and like their singer is known for like they're one of those bands that like has said like we love touring. If we can be on tour the entire year, we're gonna do it.
Right.
And their singer is one of those guys who like he goes so hard that he's known for like one night he can be amazing and the next night his throat can just be shot. His throat was shot on this. First time I saw them, they were incredible. I was like, man, people say that about him, but he sounded amazing tonight. And then this set, my second time seeing them, his voice was noticeably shot, and my partner doesn't ever notice that stuff. And she said like, yeah, he's not sounding great tonight, but they're so charismatic and like they are so obviously wanting to be there that it was one of those things I was like, I'd pay to see him perform poorly, because they obviously like each other so much and they want to be on stage that it's so fun. And like the crowd knows all their songs so much that it's fun to yell it back at them.
Right. Yeah.
It was so good. Steve Aoki came out for their set the first weekend. There were a lot of celebrities there,
Weird.
but I didn't see any. Apparently Bam Margera was in the VIP section for a while. Yeah.
I wonder how the backstage area was streamlined so that all the different artists who have toured with each other in the early 2000s could go watch each other's sets, and
I have no clue. Yeah. But
I think that'd be so cool.
all in all, that's my When We Were Young. It ended up being incredible. I don't think it'll be top for a long time for me. There's a lot of these bands that really shocked me, like Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. I was like, I'm going to go see Face Down. I knew every song in their set. I was like, I didn't remember being this big of a fan. And when they played Face Down, that was the first song of the day that like we were yelling back at them. I was like, this feels so good. We were just all fucking yelling. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Do you think they'll do it every year?
What?
This
When we were young?
festival? Yeah.
I mean, spoilers, they're doing next year.
They have next year.
They announced it. It's a totally different lineup, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
totally
There's not
different. I mean,
any-
It's a super weak lineup in my opinion.
Yeah, they're setting themselves up to.
it's the same
to-
concept but different music.
You can't set yourself up for this like idea of like When We Were Young and then like do it every fucking year. I mean, you're like
They're
gonna run out of shit so fast.
So
Yeah, you'd have to do every like
They can
4
target
or
decades.
5 years,
Yeah.
and you could have made it work.
decades
then,
is
but-
too broad, I think. So this year, what we're looking at, it's more like the emo, hardcore, whatever you want to say. And obviously there's stuff that like outliers there, but emo is what I see here. Next year, pop punk. It's like, so we're talking about 2023. They've only announced one day, which it's sold out, by the way. So they've only announced this one day. We'll see if it, actually happened. This was one of those skepticisms that people had, is they announced and started selling tickets to this before year one happened. So people were thinking like, oh, they know it's a dud and they want
Yeah.
to get tickets.
Yeah, that seems like a really bad move, but
does.
But it worked
glad
out
it
for them.
but-
So headliners, Green Day, Blink-182, 30 Seconds to Mars, not pop punk, Offspring, Good Charlotte, and then it goes down. You got like Rise Against, Yellow Cards, Sum 41, Simple Plan, Newfound Glory. There's some cool bands like, I would love to see Motion City Soundtrack. Gym Class Heroes would be fun. Something Corporate is reuniting for this. If you don't know them, that's the Jack's Mannequin. I forget that guy's Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. That's who he is now. He's had all these names. He's a really prolific guy. But there's cool stuff on here, but it's just like, it's a much weaker lineup than this year. I would not pay to go to this.
To your point earlier, this year's festival was very much like a curated thing. They had a goal of like, we're going to have all these bands who like mostly are all the same genre or related to it. This seems more like they just went through like, what were the top radio hits in whatever year we're talking about now?
It seems like they rushed the sequel.
Yeah.
Well, they could totally do one
It's
with
definitely
like,
a money grab.
next year. It'll be like Mumford and Sons and like all those bands that are related to that.
I don't know if those people were that old enough for that yet.
It's like Alt J, Mumford and Sons. Yeah. Michelle
Edward Sharpe.
Branch is playing. The only person I see on here that is playing again from this year is Pierce the Veil, which apparently had a great set. Once again, that was a band that I was actively like, nah, I'm good. Let's not.
Yeah.
But apparently they had a great set. Incredible show. Wish it wasn't in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is not a fun place to be, I would argue. It's a place to go if you've never been. But then after you go once, it's like, you're good.
I think
Unless
most
you have
people
like a
say
lot
that.
of money.
I think most people say it's only you go there like if you're a partier, if you're a gambler, then it's a place for you. Otherwise, it sucks ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. If you guys said like, "Hey, we're all going to Vegas," like a year from now, we're going to Vegas, and I'd be like, "Oh, are y'all going to show?" And you were just saying, "No, we're doing Vegas stuff." I would say no. That's how much is just like it's not that fun of a place. But I'm so glad this worked out. This festival for me because it made the trip so good. But I think I have one last picture on here, and I just want I would like to see. Can you guys explain to me what's happening right here? What you're seeing? This is toward the last part of the day. We're watching the story so far. Can you guys see what's happening? This is a packed audience. But
Everyone's just
lots
sitting
of
in
people
groups
are
and talking
tired.
to each other.
Yeah.
Dave, you're right. Everybody's sitting. That was a reoccurring thing. Very rarely did you see people getting shit-faced early in the day like you do at other festivals. A lot of people were saying, I'm going to stick to water for now.
These are grown-ups reminiscing about when they were young, so that tracks.
Exactly. So around like 8 p.m., like all of us were like, hey, look, we gotta relax before, my
about our
cam and everybody.
bedtime now.
Yeah.
Need a cat nap.
I specifically took this picture because I was like, this is what I gotta end on.
Bunch of fucking losers.
We would have been like, let's go shotgun a beer.
Dude, I like what? Like this is the opportunity where you get the caffeine rolling and you fucking go for it.
There was
dude.
none of that at Cal Jam.
There was none of that. There was a bunch
People
of
were
fucking
drinking
50-year-olds
all fucking day.
who were like, we're gonna party the whole goddamn time.
It just going like, we need another shot of Jagger.
Yeah.
$20 coffees. So I don't think
yikes.
any of them were gonna do it. Yeah. Yep. So that's when we were young. If you stick around for what we're listening to, you'll find out what my favorite set or sets was.
Yay! Thanks, Jackson. Thanks for the field report.
Yeah,
That was
no
excellent.
problem. Thanks for sending me, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, did we pay
Yeah,
for that?
we paid for that.
Shit.
We paid for that. That's exactly with the money that we make.
All the money.
All the money.
All the money. Okay.
right.
So I guess I'll go first. I have been listening to actually a lot of stuff I'm really excited about, but the one that has been really sticking with me is The Loneliest Time, Carly Rae Jepsen's new album. I think it's amazing. I think it's so fucking good. I'm a huge fan of this album. Dave, if you haven't listened to it, this is for you specifically.
All right, I'll check it out.
You should listen. You should. I did this on purpose where I listened to it from front to back. But the last song, the title track, "Loneliest Time," has Rufus Wainwright on it.
I was gonna say, yeah, I saw that Rufus was on it.
It's so fucking good. There's a lot of great people on the album. Cody Fry, who's like this awesome singer-songwriter, but also like a string arranger. He did the strings on the album. It's really, really good. And then the new Polyphia album came out. Remember That You Will Die. Great Polyphia album. It's a
What
great
a fucking bad name. I hate that name. What a bummer.
I hate a lot about Polyphia, but I like that album.
Me too. I hate a lot about them too.
I like this album a lot. There's a lot of good stuff on here. They have really great features. Anomaly is on a track. The Bloodbath with Chino is so fucking good.
Look, from Deftones?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So fucking good.
What about the Steve Vai song?
That is a bummer. That's like they have a song called Playing God. It's like the second song. It was a single they dropped. That was like, it's a cool song, they have like a nylon string and they do a bunch of crazy shit. And I'm like, oh, so this is probably their like their song they're gonna wank on. They're gonna like do a bunch of guitar shit on, and then they fucking drop a song with Steve Vai. I'm like, I could be less interested. like,
I bet you couldn't tell, like, except for probably a music video when Steve Vai is playing.
No, you can
Oh,
tell.
you can tell.
You can tell.
He sounds old.
Very boring solos.
Not boring, but it sounds time
It's
stamped.
so funny that they included Steve Vai after like they've gone on this rant of like the boomer bends. Like Tim is super about the whole like boomer bends and getting away from the way that like boomer blues guitar players sound. And then they bring Steve Vai on. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Isn't this what you're talking about? Maybe I'm missing something, but
If you want to reach out to him, I think I could help you with that.
I got it.
Okay.
I've just been listening to a record from 2014 called "Lost on the River" by the New Basement Tapes, which was a group of people, songwriters that got together to write music to Bob Dylan's lyrics that he didn't write songs for in the early days when he did the Basement Tapes. There's a documentary that's accompanied with it, and it's really cool.
Have you listened to that Wilco record where they did a similar thing with Hank Williams?
I have not.
That might not be wrong. Hank Williams, Woody Guthrie, maybe. I don't.
Maybe.
It's one of those guys.
Yeah.
But they did it with God, I fucking forgot that other guy's name. But it's an incredible record where they're just like, here's all of his songs. He wrote a song a day, so you guys can do whatever you want. Song California Stars is off of it, and that's one of Wilco's biggest songs. It's so good.
That sounds like a cool idea.
It's super cool. They had this is how I got into it. It's Taylor Goldsmith from Dawes, but it's also Elvis Costello, Marcus Mumford. It's just a bunch of cool songwriters, and they all wrote different versions of the same lyrics.
That's cool.
So it's a really cool documentary.
I listened to
Album?
The Car by Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, I specifically didn't mention that. I wasn't going to mention that this week
You
because I
weren't
was
going
like,
to mention that this week?
yeah, because I was like, Adam's got it.
I've got it, yeah.
And is
It's building upon their last album, so if
Okay.
you liked it, you're going to have a good time. And if you didn't like it, you should not bother listening to it.
But did Adam like it?
I really liked it. I
Love
liked
it.
the past album as well.
I love it. It's so good. It's so.
I was worried they were
exciting.
going to go away from this new,
Yeah.
like lounge pop kind of rock sound, and they did not.
I think it's so exciting to like. Did you watch the Zane Lowe interview?
I have not.
It's super good. It's super exciting to see a band like that just say, okay, we're gonna do this, and like, I hear the connective tissue. And the singer, he basically talked about like, because like, every interview they're gonna be in, the interviewer is gonna say, so how do you write a song like this when you have fucking blah blah blah, like these two records?
Yeah.
How do you write a song like this? Zane Lowe did such a good way of dancing around that, but asking a similar question of being like, man, it must be so hard. This band has been a band for 20 years. And this song, I bet you look good on the dance floor, was written 20 years ago. How do you perform songs like that? You're not that person. And the singer's answer was basically saying like, man, at the end of the day, I don't see it as I'm writing different music. I'm still listening to that thing in my head that says, yeah, go down that route. And I'm still following that same feeling. You just got to hope that the listeners hear that feeling. And I was like, man, that's such a great way of looking at it when you think of these bands, except for when it's like an obvious, like, we're going down the pop route.
Like Paramore.
Yeah, sure. But
but the emo still like the pop.
that's a totally different thing. What they're doing makes sense. You see how Paramore got there. I'm talking about like, not Maroon 5, but there's a lot of those, like I maybe A Day to Remember. I know there's a lot of bands like that who are like hardcore and now are like trying to be Imagine Dragons type stuff.
Yeah.
And you can feel the money, the ka-ching. Whereas like this, like,
Yeah, this doesn't seem like a money grab kind of move. It seems more of like this is just what I want to do now, and it's surprising though that they're sticking with it.
Feels
because
natural.
I figured they would just go back and be like, that was a one-off, like a concept album when we're done. That was fun.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good. That opening song, the Mirror Ball one.
Yeah.
God, those strings on it. There's so much strings on the record. There's like hardly, it doesn't sound like the band is playing. It's just like an orchestra. It's so good. That's so cool. So, my favorite sets at When We Were Young, not Paramore, not My Chemical Romance, not Death Cab for Cutie, which really stuck out. I did get to hear about half their set. And I was like, I love this band, but they don't make sense at this festival. And I think they could tell. it was Hawthorne Heights and Boys Like Girls. Boys Like
Nice.
Girls is what I expected to be my favorite set. I love that band. My partner and I are super into that band, and we both like agreed that like none of our friends growing up ever liked that band, Boys Like Girls, and that both her and I were super into them. And it was like one of those things where it was like, man, I don't believe in that kind of stuff, but like I feel like we're meant to be because we're both super into Play Radio Play, and we're both super into Boys Like Girls, bands that like no one else we knew were into. And here we are just connecting in that way. So seeing that with her was just like, it felt so great. It was so incredible. But Hawthorne Heights just really, that was another one of those sets where other than the brand new song that they played, I was just like, I forgot how many songs of y'all's I know. And like, that's a band I immediately followed on Instagram. I was like, as soon as I tour in Dallas, A, I want to open for them. Doubt it will happen. But B, I have to go see them. Like the energy that they had at their shows, and they were the most like it was very. There's a ton of great videos of their set, but there's a lot of they seem the most genuine of like, we're so happy to be here. You guys don't know how much you guys mean to us and how much this means to us. Like I'm 40 years old and like look at you guys. Like I see new faces. I see people who are older than me.
So were there about the festival? Were there high production cameras on stage and like dollies?
Everywhere.
So they're going to make a documentary. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
Oh, I would imagine so, right?
I think they were intending to just record day 1 and 2, and then they only recorded day 2, and then they had like stands everywhere. They had like towers where people were having to climb up and then like get really good shots. Yeah.
Nice.
Very clear something will come from that. If you go to their they had the like social teams running around, which like people would throw up a drone and get a quick view of the audience and then grab it and then run off. And I was like, damn, they're going to like make some like fucking Instagram shit. And if you go to their Instagram, their TikTok, you see where it went. There's some great footage of them bouncing from stage to stage using a drone, which shows you just how big the festival was. So yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. Hawthorne Heights really shocked me at how good their set was. That's probably my favorite set.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
No. You can email us. You can email us what would be your When We Were Young Fest.
Great. Yeah. Please email us with 65 bands.
Do you know 65 bands?
Have you heard of 65 bands before?
We'll
Email
give you a
us with
freebie.
those.
You can do 64 bands.
64 bands will allow. That's fine. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. I'm sure I'll do a little thing in the video and the audio to apologize for a little bit of a scuffedness. But thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please follow or subscribe on whatever podcast app you are using. We're on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. We're also on TikTok now, making these clips. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I don't usually listen to the podcast, and I have to watch and listen.
They're very fun. Hagen's doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to watch and listen and pull clips, and then it's fun. I actually quite like making the clips. They're very cool. So if you're on TikTok, we're on there now. You can just look up Don't Feed the Artist. We're right there. And if you email us at whenwewereyoungfest@don'tfeedtheartist.com with your 64 band lineup. We would love to hear it.
That sounds like a lawsuit.
I think we're good.
And then you can please comment on the YouTube videos, DM us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, DFTA Podcast, and just say hi, say what's up. If you were when we were young, tell us your favorite Fed.
Yeah, send in your field report.
Tell us, your
yeah,
field
we had
report.
a little meet and greet, the fans and I. Yeah.
Nice. That's wonderful. That's very
The
good.
fan and you.
The fan.
Whoa.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We really, really appreciate it. And hold on, I gotta make sure this can't be.
Fuck off!
Let's go, girls.
Oh, we forgot that.
What?
Let's go,
girls.
Fuck off!
girls.
Earls?
Fuck off,
Fuck
girls.
off, Earls. If your name's Earl, email us at stoptellingme-to-fuck-off@don'tfeedtheartist.
If your name is Earl, do a tray flip, please.
Do it now. Right now.